What's up, everyone? Don Elmi here, and so this year marks the 45th anniversary of one of my all-time favorite films, Jaws. And so I feel there is no other person that I would like to review this film with other than my father, Frank Elmi. And so, 1975, a long time ago, huh?
Yep, 1975. I was in the summer of 75. I would have been 16.
16 when you saw this iconic film.
Right.
What was that experience like for you actually seeing this in theaters?
Well, it was a big deal. It was in the news. The only other movie I can think of that was got that much attention that I remember back in that period was like The Exorcist.
Oh, yes.
When it came out, everyone was shocked and so forth. But when Jaws came out, long lines at the theaters.
Oh, yes.
People actually waited outside to get in, and it was summer, and I think we went down to the patio on, I think it said Irving and Central or something, Irving and Austin is where the patio is. I think it still might be there. I think that's where we went and saw it, and I remember having to park blocks away and go get in line with a bunch of people, and it was more of an event just to go to the movies, and of course, to see the movie.
Yes. I've seen pictures of what it was like back then, all those long lines, all those drive-in theaters, and...
Yeah, we only had a couple of drive-ins around. The Sunset was around and something else. I don't remember if Jaws played there or not, but it was everywhere. And it got a lot of attention because the book was successful, although I hadn't read the book yet. I didn't read the book probably until maybe a year later. Wow. I read the book, but Peter Benchley wrote Jaws. The actors that were in Jaws were hot actors. They were in the prime of their career. Roy Schneider did All That Jazz, and Dreyfuss was making movies, and who's the Robert Shaw had been in Sting. It was a massive success too. But Jaws, I think it got everybody's attention because it used suggestion more than a lot of fake blood, if you will.
Oh, yes.
The music, if you can imagine what Jaws would be like without the music, I don't think it would be, the soundtrack for the movie. The fact that it isn't something that hadn't been done before, it was done very well. Mm-hmm. For the time. I know that right now if people went to see Jaws, they wouldn't get the same effect from it.
No.
And they wouldn't be looking for that effect either. But it was kind of a mixture of Hitchcock meets Godzilla meets, Friday the 13th. I don't even know if that was out yet. A lot of suspense, a lot of that eerie music, the unknown, and of course, I'd hazard to say that most people in the United States or even in the world do not swim in the ocean on a regular basis.
No.
So there's that unknown there, and and it was a great date movie. It was a great date movie. Everybody had to go see it. And what can I say? It was a big success.
Oh yes, the first ever summer blockbuster. It was the highest-grossing highest-grossing film at the time until that is for just 2 years until Star Wars beat it. And this film really changed. Like you said, it struck fear into the hearts of millions of people afraid to go in the water of something that wasn't even real.
Right.
But it actually was inspired by the shark attacks that occurred along the New Jersey shoreline in July, I believe it's 1916. Where several people...
I remember reading something about that. Back then, shark cages, shark fishing, that wasn't something people were familiar with. People, sharks were sharks, and, goldfish were goldfish. It wasn't until after Jaws that people said they wanted to go that I know of, that people said, we got to go shark fishing. And of course, it decimated a lot of populations and so forth. And then you get the the shark cages and the cruises and shark watching, and
Oh, yes.
and the reality is, of course, that there's a lot more stories about sharks than there are sharks.
That's true. I mean, there was one instance where I've actually encountered a shark when I was over. I don't know if I told you this. When I was in Texas, like Galveston, I was swimming on not too far into the water, but I came face to face with I think it was about 3 feet, a 3 foot leopard shark. A shark that's not known to attack humans, but then the second he saw me, he just darted off. Like if anything.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot going on. They say that people, and I'll get back to the movie, but they say that people emulate seals. Surfboards have gotten much shorter.
Oh, yes.
Over the years, the surfboard used to be, 9, 10 feet long, 8, 9 feet long. Now surfboards are much shorter. Swimmers wear wetsuits. The silhouette of someone straddling a surfboard more emulates a seal, I guess, than it used to. And mistakes are made, of course. Everybody's got a camera. News travels fast. News does not die out as quickly as it used to. News is not local anymore. News is around the clock and around the globe. So if something happens in Australia, something happens in New Jersey, it's the same thing. You're going to hear about it. But no, the movie itself was obviously a great success. Movies, didn't cost to make what they cost now. And if you look at I think if you look at the props, the mechanical shark.
Oh, yes.
The fact that where they shot the film and how the actors and the soundtrack made up for a lot of things, a lot of things that people would call them on today. Let's say
yes. I mean,
as far as the shark being mechanical shark and being operated by people in 4 feet of water, and they're trying to make it look like they're in the middle of the ocean. So forth, but it was a good story, and it basically scared the hell out of people, which they liked. Like I say, the only thing I can think of is The Exorcist that made as big a splash back then, that people talked about it. I mean. You didn't. You want to see a movie? You had to go to the movie theater. Unless you wanted to wait an awful long time.
Unlike what we have today, where everybody's like streaming and whatnot.
No, there wasn't a lot of streaming going on. As a matter of fact, I don't even remember a lot of pre-release marketing. People promoting films. I mean, films came out and they lived or died, stood or fell, and that's the way it was.
Well, yeah, back then, where movies were advertised with your basic posters going around, and also with the occasional TV spots. I've lived from pretty commercials and such.
Yeah, I don't remember that many commercials and such, but you got to remember there was also probably half a dozen, if that, platforms where someone could go on and promote a movie.
Yes.
If you weren't on one of 5 or 6 talk shows, national talk shows at the time, the only other thing is, of course, newspapers. That was the only other way.
Yeah.
Big black and white picture of a shark. The shark going up. I mean, you had. It was about young people. It was about a shark. It was about old people. Mm-hmm. It was, like I said, kids were getting eaten. Pretty girls were getting eaten. Didn't some guy get his leg cut off or chopped off?
His leg dropped down.
Yeah. That was as gory as there was, I think, as I remember, a part in the movie. I mean, you've got a punctured raft floating in some blood, which But most of it was, like I say, the fear of the unknown and the anticipation and just waiting to be scared. Mm-hmm. Which Jaws, I think, did an awful lot of while Peter Benchley was a promoted ocean life, sharks, all that.
Oh, yes.
It did a lot of disservice to them because people believed that a shark had a memory, that a shark had feelings, that a shark could be vindictive. that a shark is willing to chase a boat because he's mad at the people on the boat, sort of thing. And of course that's not true. And of course, you know, it, like I say, it turned a lot of shark populations on their, you know, decimated a lot of shark populations and so forth. And they're just coming back now. But it took 25, 30 years for somebody to finally stand up and say, you know, stop killing them for the sake of killing them and so forth.
Yep.
Because they serve a purpose. If you just take it for what it's worth, it was a well-made movie. Basically, it was a lot of laughs. And it was just a fun movie that has endured because of how well it was made. Not the special effects per se, but how well it was made and the effect it had on the movie-going public. You know, what was it now, 45 years ago.
45 years, yes. And this is the one film where everybody saw this and saw how much it made and the big success that many people tried to mimic, tried to
Right.
you know, put the same kind of formula in with sharks, which of course for the most part was failed because there's like too many to count how many bad ones there were. But
Well, of course.
there were a few exceptions. Like back in 2016, me and my friend Nick, we went to see The Shallows, which was focused on a woman trying to survive against a shark that's circling the rock that she's on, and just high tide coming in. And I ended up really liking The Shallows. It was actually a really good film. And of course,
Why don't go swimming in the ocean?
Spielberg was like really hitting the ground running after this one. He launched a big career, so many films, and like
In demand.
oh yeah, Raiders of the Indiana Jones films, E.T. A lot of his work had the same musician from Jaws, John Williams, and I believe he won an Academy Award for the Jaws theme.
See the little shark guy?
I believe so, yeah. And when he first introduced Spielberg to his idea for the theme, just those few notes, and Spielberg thought, wait, this isn't
Like
for
a
real, is it?
Oboe or a cello or something.
Oh yeah, among other things. Yeah, I've seen him perform it in an orchestra once. And let's see, what else was I going to say? And there were many other films after that, including the War of the Worlds remake with Tom Cruise, which I believe you and me saw back in 2005.
I did see that. That might have been the last movie I went to, come to think of it. No, I'm kidding.
No.
Yes, we went to see War of the Worlds on the week it was released. We were up in...
Minocqua.
Yes, we were up in Wisconsin. And we went and sat in the theater, and I took a nap, and you watched the movie. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah.
Well, by the end of the movie, I was cheering for the shark. So, there you go.
Oh yeah, and like, what was your favorite scene from that film?
Probably the scene where Richard Dreyfuss comes to dinner
Oh yes, the dinner scene.
at Sheriff Brody, I guess his name was, right? In his house.
Yeah. My favorite scene in particular is when Robert Shaw Quint, when he was on the boat with them, and he was talking about his experience on the Indianapolis, the naval ship that delivered the atomic bomb that destroyed Hiroshima in World War II.
Right.
The ship that was struck by a Japanese sub sank, and those who survived only lived to experience a whole new nightmare, a whole bunch of sharks that were circling around.
Another movie.
And the character described his experience, create a very chilling picture of, just through that dialogue. And you could just tell from that scene, I consider that scene to be Robert Shaw's best performance, like his best, where he really put his all into it, his best scene of his career.
Yeah, that was good. And then the shark showed up.
Oh yeah.
And started beating on the side of the boat or something.
Oh yeah, as they were singing.
Yes. Jaws, 45 years old, still chilling as ever.
Just about to be released in 4K quality, which I'm pretty sure a lot of people are excited
Which
to
I've
purchase.
been waiting for. What is 4K quality?
Highest quality that they've got right now.
Well, when
And,
I saw Jaws 45 years ago, it's the highest quality they had then too. So there you have it.
Okay.
Okay, go down to the patio and see it for yourself.
Yes. And there's one other thing I want to mention. Then there are a lot of theaters right now where they do this thing where, well, not theaters. There are some events where they do this thing where they have the movie screened right in front of a body of water, well, usually a lake, and people just go into the lake on these floats and just watch the movie from there on a big screen. and you know I'm crazy enough to try that when I get a chance.
Okay, there you have it.
So, everybody, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.
Ciao.